Hello, World of Tank Blizzards, that's Littlefinger, and I've got a full tank review today on the IS-2 1945, which you can see here in the garage, which is a Tier 7 Soviet heavy premium tank, which is currently for sale as part of Black Friday. If you go to your shopping cart and scroll down under offers, they are the IS-2 1945 13 coupons for 3,250 gold, which is actually a really good price for a Tier 7 premium tank. But let's not fool ourselves. This tank is like so many other tanks. Look at the difference here between the IS and the IS-2. There's really not a lot of differences between the tanks, and we'll get into that a little bit. Now, if you're a collector and you want to put on the legendary camo, you know, it does look really neat with that camo. But apart from that, I mean, it is just your basic average tank. And, you know, part of my review is actually going to be, I think, swayed a little bit because of this. You can see here 85 battles, 75% win rate, average damage 1653. So it's not a bad tank, and I actually play very well in it. But again, it's not a tank that's unique or different in any way. So unless you're a collector of all tanks, I wouldn't recommend spending the gold on it. One of the other things I noticed after doing my games was that I did not even have all of the equipment slots unlocked. So the way I had this configured was the gun rammer, defense system, improved optics, and enhanced gun lane drive. Now I would have gone with the enhanced armor. Actually, I don't know if I would. I might have gone with the extra 80 hit points. Your armor's not very good in this tank. It's only 100 mil. I would go with the engine accelerator and then probably the vertical stabilizer. But as you can see, I have played 85 battles without that equipment and I'm doing quite all right in it. So here's blitzstars.com, and you can see the IS-2 1945 and the IS and the Lycan all share the same gun with extremely similar statistics across the board. I've got the FV201, VK4503, and the Nameless as the other tanks we're using it to compare. And so you can see we're way down below those tanks as far as your damage per minute. Your pen is nice at 175, and you're doing 400 damage per shot. So it falls into that category of a heavy tank when it's doing a high alpha, which is not usually my favorite, because if you miss one shot or two shots, it could really affect the outcome of a game. Shell velocity is not great at 780. So you can see here, just from the gun handling statistics, it's really not that great. 2.8 aim time. You've only got 6 degrees of gun depression. So you really got to keep that in mind, and I'll show you that in this gameplay. If you don't wait for this thing to aim all the way in, you're going to miss a lot of shots. Your speed and mobility here are really nice on this tank, and I think that's why I tend to like this a little bit more than some other heavy tanks. Coming in with 16.78 power to weight ratio, you know, it leads the class. It is mobile. It'll get up to top speed of 34 kilometers per hour pretty quick, and you can get around the battlefield a lot faster than you can in some of those other heavies that don't quite have that top speed. Credit coefficient, you know, for a premium tank, obviously 150 is pretty good there for a Tier 7. And then the other thing I wanted to point out here is your hull and turret armor, only 100 millimeters. Think about this for a second. KV-1, Tier 5, 110. You know, so even as a heavy tank, it's not like you have the armor to be a frontline brawler. So it makes it very difficult play style in this tank, if you ask me. You know, there's not a lot of other tanks in here that have the same or less armor. VK4503, which is another tough tank to play, only has 100 mil on the front. You know, all these other ones have at least something. The IS has hull armor of 120. The Lycan has turret armor of 120. The FV has turret of 152. So they all have something a little bit better than 100. So you're going to get penned quite frequently. Not a lot of bounces in this tank. So to start out the gameplay, I'm just going to show this clip from Lost Temple where we're climbing the hill here. We're getting on top. Here is another IS-2 1945, and we're going to aim in. There's a little bit of red. We could probably get that lower plate, but We lose out, and that aiming there was on me. I wasn't aimed in. I wasn't pointed at the commander's hatch there. And then this game we start to get circled a little bit. So I've come around to the other side, just making sure that none of these tanks are going to pop out at me if I go in for the shot here. So here we are lining up on the Tiger, waiting, take our shot, and it goes underneath. So obviously you can correct a little bit of that with some more equipment. But again, the aim time on this is really difficult. Obviously we've got some HE pen as a big 122 millimeter gun, so we can put him away there. And so it's nice when you have broad shots into the side of tanks from close range like that shot. So first full game here on Vineyards as bottom tier. We're going to let this play at normal speed so you can get an idea of this tank accelerating, getting up to speed once we figure out which way this team is going. So we're kind of looking around, making sure the team's going to be headed either into town. Nope. Looks like they're turning. Nope. We're going to go right. And we're going to try to find some nice flat spots because we only have 6 degrees of gun depression. So keep that in mind. We only have 100 mil of armor in the front and on our turret. So it's really not a tank you can get out and brawl in. You really want to play a little peek-a-boom more style, which is difficult when you have such a long aim time. So our T-21 here is just going to push way too fast into 2 tanks. We've got a shot here. I'm kind of aiming for that just above the wheel there, and it bounces. So we've bounced our first shot there off of a Tier 8 IS-3 Defender. Switch over to APCR. We're going to do 342 in damage there. We just wanted to make sure we got some damage and didn't bounce another shot. I'm waiting to fully reload, and you can see how well I'm using the rock here for hard cover. And we've got this VK to the side. We can go back to AP and get the side of the turret. The SU there beat me to that shot. So there's the SU. He knows we're here. He's aimed in. Now that I see him moving, I know that he is not going to have the aim time. So we're going to peek out there, take our shot, and get back before he can shoot us. So again, just using this hard cover to our advantage. Panther's in a little bit of trouble here, or at least I think he is. And so I want to get out there and try to help him. I'm willing to take a shot for it, but with such a fast reload on the Panther, he's able to get rid of that SU. Make a mistake here by pulling out. WZ is aimed in at us, and you can see with the snapshot does not go in. So I want to get down below the ridgeline here to cover. He is the only tank left. Team's done a good job here on finishing this out. He's just shot, so he's on a reload, so we can move in. And we'll kind of exemplify how we do against the armor on a Tier 8 heavy tank here. First shot in. Remember, we talked about that being spaced armor, so we want to go a little bit below it into, where the track is, and just below that. And so this is where you don't want to shoot, right there into that spaced armor. It's a 2-on-1 game here, and I've just let our Panther get killed because I've missed that shot. I should have aimed into the side or back of the turret there. Obviously, no spaced armor on it. So it looks like you can pen, but remember that is spaced armor. It's got to go through that and through the body of the tank. So at this point in time, I have 536 hit points. He's a one-shot, so I've loaded APCR, and I'm just backing up so that I can get nice and low, and I can come in here and don't have to worry about that hill or my gun depression. I'll take a shot from him and, you know, just finish him off with that APCR. So 2135 in damage, 38,000 in credits. We did use a few rounds of APCR there, and obviously some consumables. All right, so we're back on Vineyards, this time spawning from the opposite side, and this is also a supremacy game. And, you know, one of the things you need to be cautious with, I think, a little bit with this tank is playing it too much on the front line. But when spawning from this side, I do like to push a little bit further past the river and try to get spots up into A. You know, typically you're going to get one or two tanks that go up into A, and no one's really going to push into the buildings to my left there. So it's, especially on a supremacy, it's a fairly safe move. And as you can see, they're already starting to cap. 35 kilometers per hour is our top speed. And I get spotted here by this LTTB, which is a little bit unfortunate because I like to pull up that road a little bit. But there's the T-44 to my left, tier 8 medium tank. Yeah. And look at all this red. What a spot for him to be in. I can't pen any of that. So we just give him a shot just to let him know we're here and tell him hopefully you'll back off. He's going to come out sideways, and actually we get that shot to go in. Really didn't need to use APCR there, but didn't have time to switch back. So I notice we've got a tank in the corner, and I don't want him to get rushed. And T-44 is going to make a really bad mistake and lose all of his hit points. We just need a little damage, so HE that, doesn't matter where it goes. We finish him off for the kill. Now I was mindful of that T-49 there. Wanted to make sure if he was ready to take a shot, I wasn't going to run in front of him. And he's looking down there again, so I'm going to run behind him this time. Letting the team know I'm going to go to A now. Obviously, they're all in town or pushing up out of town. Poor IS-6 down there with a lot of tanks. So into A we come, and I can get one shot into the SU and back to safety. We've got it capped now, so I'm not so worried about getting shot. We see the VK. Look at this lucky shot there with APCR. There's no way that should have really gone through, but we're going to take it. We're up a tank. We're losing. Well, thought we were about to lose our base advantage there. But it looks to me like they've pushed, you know, onto the other side of that bridge. So I'm going to make a move up here. And we can see, yep, there's all four of them. So I want to try to get some shots in here. We've got two caps, so we should overtake them here in a second, provided everyone can stay alive. Here's a VK. Why didn't you switch to HE? Why? Yeah, I tried to put that in with APCR. That was a bad mistake there. Nice roll. And I'm really hoping this VK comes up so we can get a kill. Gonna be patient, let this thing aim. Thankfully he turns all the way sideways and gives us a nice big target. And that right there is enough for us to get out the cap points and finish this off. So, I showed that game because I think this is a very mobile tank as far as a heavy goes. And you can get around the battlefield and get yourself into positions where you can do damage. Alright, and so for the last game, and obviously where this tank really shines is as a top tier. You don't really have to worry about pen as top tier. You're going to be able to pen just about everything out there. And you can also think about using HE a little bit more. So here we are, Normandy. And yeah, we're going to run up to C and get the cap points started. So as far as play style for this tank, I really would not consider it a frontline heavy. It's more of a support heavy. Your armor at 100 mil is just not good enough. Your aim time's really not that great, so you still need to be as close to your targets as possible. And you'll see what that looks like here in this game. So they have just started at D. We're going to come around here. First shot into the SU, and we're backing up. Our SU is not driving nice there. And there is the T-28 HTC, and even switching over to APCR, you can see how difficult that tank is to pen. So we're going to relocate. No point trying to go frontally on with that T-28. Kind of dodged that shot from the Y5 Firefly. KV2 is just shot. We took a 300 and something damage from him. But unfortunately, we can't do any ram damage, so we have to waste a shot to kill him. Coming in behind the Firefly here, like I said, considering use HE on the rears of some of these tanks. There we go. There's a nice 505 roll. HTC is doing what you should not do as an HTC driver, and that is let tanks get on your side. So he has finished off. 3 tanks remaining. KV3 is next target up. And you can just see, how well this tank really does get around. It's not something you typically see from heavy tanks. So the IS line, obviously, it does have a good top speed. Chaffee here is calling for help, so we're going to come in here. See the back of the WZ. So I try a HE shot on the run. Just do splash damage there at 253, but now we know we're just going to finish him off here at the end. And this is the way the best way to play it there is on the move. Doesn't matter where that shot goes, you're going to pen. You don't have to aim. So, like I said there in the intro, it's not a unique tank unless you get the camouflage on it. So for $32.50 in gold, it's a good deal, but there's just other tanks out there that are unique. Didn't really talk about how much this is very much like the Lycan, which is obviously a little bit different. So it depends on who you are and what you're collecting tanks for. And if you just want a different tank in your garage, if you like the IS but you want 150% credit coefficient, then this is a great tank. So with that, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Make sure that you guys have hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 6,000, 10,000. We're coming. As always, have fun out there. Stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.